Hello, welcome to Gettin Up. I'm your host Mystery, and we will be going through the evolution of graph. The first guy that we know that sort of like did what we would call like a recurring alias would be Arthur Stace. He was born in 1880 and he went around and he wrote the word eternity all throughout Sydney up until when he died in 1967, year 2000 ceremony in Sydney at midnight when the bridge had the fireworks go off. It actually had the word eternity. So Sydney was ushered in with the word eternity, the alias of Arthur Stace. So the New York graffiti started out initially with quite antisocial stuff. So it started out with like gangs. So there were groups like the Black Spades, it was the Mau Mau's, and what gangs would do would just mark their territory. A few years later, a guy from Washington Heights by the name of Demetrius, a Greek dude, his nickname, was Tucky, which is the shortened version, Demetaki, and he wrote Tucky 183. He lived on 183rd Street, and he wrote it all over the place. He worked as a courier, so when he travelled around, he'd write his name. So he was the first person to get his name throughout all of the different boroughs of New York. People thought, I need to do something to make my name stand out a little bit more. So they started to add a little bit more style to their tags. They might add a bit of decoration, add some little speech marks or underlines, drips. Also, one guy in particular, Stay High 149, would add like a stick figure. The classic bubble letter has been around for ages. Quite simple, every line that you do is a round line. Also what they would do as well is they would not just have an outline of the lettering, but they would colour in different things. And this was the beginning of what we call pieces. Pieces is just short for masterpieces. Okay, as well as bubble letters, people would also do things like block letters. So just the exact opposite concept. So all your lines, instead of being round, all straight. Now another thing that happened as well is people started to implement things like the 3D. Just draw every line, 45-degree angle in this case, and then going parallel. We've got a 3D. For myself, what I like to do when I do a 3D is do shadows. So a nice little blendy shadow. So we've got a 3D on a blockbuster. Another thing that people would do as well as doing a 3D, they would also do a drop shadow, where if a light source was coming this way, the shadow was just slightly to the side. And these are things that you'll see on the vast majority of graph around the world. We also have styles that are a little bit more sort of developed. We've got wild style. And so what wild style is if you have a normal letter, like say for example a letter Z, in a font, the lines would all be parallel. So I'm going to do the letter E. I could do a capital E, lowercase, reversed. Could do it like that. Could do like a 3 backwards. Now what I can do to make it even wilder is I can have lines that continue through. They're not actually a letter at all, but it sort of like distracts you. I can have arrows and chunks going through, lines, cuts, whatever. I can have things like X-rays, so it looks like the letter is actually see through a little bit. And then with that, when I add a 3D onto it, it makes it a little bit more complex. This time I'm going to do a 3D that has a vanishing point down here. So all my letters go to that one point. Now like with my 3D as well, when I did it with the shadow and all that, I can have it in little stages. It just gives the illusion. So there you go. I've got a basic sort of semi-wild style piece. You could do more and more with that. Another thing as well that people would do little patterns like we did before with the stars. You might have like a little pattern that sort of echoes shapes. Add things to that like clouds. Clouds would be there to cover up, like if the wall was just completely tagged, to make your name stand out a little bit more. And there you go. We've got a basic sort of piece. As I've just shown you, graph has quite a varied and complex history, but one of the ways that people express themselves is by painting on legal walls.
Hi, I'm Rose. We're here at the Legal Walls at the Kashula Powerhouse Art Centre. What I'm painting today is my third character. There's lots of legal walls like this one where you can do graffiti. Just contact your local council for more information. Seeking out legal walls is better than vandalising private property. There are serious legal ramifications for painting private property, so you're better off seeking out legal spaces. Check out some of the legal spaces and some of the commissioned work in our area.
A lot of graph writers choose to expand their art and pursue it in a professional sense by doing things such as fine art, graphic design or commission works.
I'm Beastman. I'm an artist based in Sydney. I grew up skateboarding, was always really into design and photography and filmmaking, and I chose to study graphic design as soon as I finished school. I also learned like web design and those sorts of skills. I felt like it was necessary for me to be involved in lots of different projects in order to make a living off doing this and being part of this art community. So now I'm at a point where I do make most of my money from selling paintings and painting commission murals and working with brands on doing things like t-shirt graphics and skateboard graphics. I got to a point with my artwork and I was exhibiting my work in galleries, and you can't really go out there and have someone teach you how to paint with aerosol paint. It just takes practice, and it's all about networking, and it's all about just being passionate about what you're doing and doing it for the right reasons, and just connecting with people that are like yourself. And then the other advice I give is just work harder than anyone else you know.
Thank you for your time watching this video. I hope that it was insightful, and make sure, take your time, be creative, develop your art. Peace.